Dungeon Master Hotline. How can I help you?
Hi.
Hey, a response. How's it going?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing great. What you got for me? I want to talk about D&D. What you got?
Me too. I've got a murder mystery
Ooh.
that I'm trying to figure out clues for, and uh, obviously help my players solve. Um, it's a little bit different than maybe a murder. Uh, well, yeah. It's a the murder or the kidnapper in this case actually
Mm-hmm.
is one of my players, and the other party members don't quite know that he's doing that yet.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you need? What do you need from me?
So, uh, this player, he's a vampire, and the reason why he's
Mm-hmm.
been kidnapping people is to make a blood farm, essentially.
Love it.
And the players have now, after coming back to this town, have discovered that the missing people have obviously gone missing. The the mayor of the town has no clue as to who it is, and the party has tried to speak with the mayor, but unfortunately the party has a reputation at this point, and uh, the mayor doesn't exactly trust them to investigate it for them. So the mayor does not trust the party members, and the party is saying, "Screw that, we'll do it ourselves." And now they have, after visiting the first crime scene, now I need to discover, or now they need to discover more clues in order to lead up to discovering that their own party member is the one who's doing these kidnappings.
Okay.
Um, I'm having a hard time coming up with clues that um, are helpful, but without outright telling them who it is. um, I've talked to the kidnapper, my player, uh, about what clues I could leave behind for the party to find. Um, and the biggest problem I told him is leaving too direct of a clue. For example, if I give a clue about footsteps or like footprints leading off to somewhere, then if I have these footprints lead off to somewhere where the party knows that this person has been,
Mm-hmm.
then that will just immediately spell out who, obviously, that the fact that the player is behind it. But on the other hand, if I have the footprints disappear or trail off or just disappear after a few blocks, then obviously it won't really help them at all.
Okay. So you need some ideas for clues for this murder mystery?
Yeah, I've thought of a few. The classics, such as like red dirt or something, found at the crime scene, that can only be found in a certain area. Um, they're also a vampire, so I tried to leave a bit of a trace of blood behind, but I, I was still leaning. I
So
didn't want
those
to
are,
spill anything. Yeah.
so all those that you just named are like physical things that they can look at. What I would start hitting is like the players, the kidnapper's backstory. Do you have their backstory? Like, do they have a
I I do.
do the
Um,
players have access to the backstory?
the players do not have access to the backstory, but it's pretty spelled out.
Okay. So over time, how long has this campaign been? Like, all right, let me just
It's
tell
been
you where I'm.
for
Go ahead.
it's been going for about 2.5 years now, or sorry, 1.5.
Jeez.
1.5 years. That's it.
So they've gotten to know this character pretty well.
They have.
That's perfect. Like 2 years of information, you have so much to pull from. So the first thing that I would do is start pulling from the backstory, like
Mhm.
references to things that are in their backstory. That's a legit clue that the players can look at, and they actually have to piece together themselves. Like if you make a reference to some town or like the first, like, so like if you just say some, this is just an example because I don't have access to your campaign, but if you just make a reference to like the first kidnapping happened in this town, and it just happens to be the town that like anybody paying attention to the backstory may remember, like, hey, isn't so and so from that town? Is the DM reusing that town name, or is that a clue? Like things like that are perfect, and you have like 2 years to go off of. Another thing would be the player's preferences. So you said, or the character's preference. Now, I love the idea. I don't know if if you're going to be capable of doing this, but if that vampire like, man, you say vampire to me, and I'm done. I'm like, I'm just gonna roll. So most vampires have a specific person that they go for. Like maybe they like freckled redheads that are mid-20s. So if they have a preference of who they kidnap, you could have the player reference things like that. So let's say a couple of kidnappings have happened. They're all redheads, just as an example.
Yeah.
And then like the players are at the bar and are like, man, we're trying to solve this mystery. And the player could be like, oh man, that's a cute, that barmaid is gorgeous. Like things like that are just, so perfect. Things like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I wish I unfortunately, most of the kidnappings that have happened already are pretty varied, from old to young, male, female. They're pretty diverse in the victims they've chosen thus far.
Mm-hmm. Is there any way that you could add something like maybe they all go to this one church, or is there anything that, or maybe they all shop at this one store and I'm trying to think of how you can connect that to the player.
Yeah. This player hasn't.
All right. Look, how's it? I'm just going to pitch this. Let me know how it sounds. So all of these kidnappings happen. All of the one connection all these people have is that they go to this specific store. I kind of don't want to do the store. Are they all in one town? All the kidnappings happen in one town?
Yes, all of the kidnappings thus far have happened in one town.
Okay, that's
specifically
something.
This town as well is one that the party are connected to, and where they've kind of set up shop or set up base, and they're connected to this town. The entire party have some attachment to this town.
All right, so I'm going to pitch this. All of these people, new information comes up. All of these people have cloaks or some kind of garment that they bought from this specific tailor in town. So the party's like, oh, that's a clue. Let's go talk to that tailor. And as soon as they walk in, the tailor looks at the kidnapper and says, hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. Right there. That is going to, that's not a direct clue, but that's that gets the ball rolling, I think.
So the other players would investigate this shop and see the other player already there?
No. The whole party goes together, walks into the shop, and the shopkeeper notices the kidnapper and says, hey, I remember you. Or, hey, it's been a minute. And then the kidnapper kind of has to play it off like, oh, yeah,
So I have something set up similarly with that idea of someone spotting someone at an area they weren't meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
A NPC, for the moment, was about to discover this person's lair where they're keeping all the kidnap victims. However, just before entering the lair, the kidnapper player stopped the person from entering the lair and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't enter here." And there was now there's a witness that this witness knows that this person is where they're not supposed to be almost. So that's one thing I do have that it's interesting. Yeah.
I like
it. Okay. I'll have to come up with what exactly the target, why the kidnapper would be targeting certain people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the player though is interested in targeting. I'll have to ask them, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely work with them because like they can help you because they know more about what they want out of the game and like their backstory and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely work with them. Like, hey, how does this sound? Let's make that work. Also, what I would do is I would just start reading some Arthur Conan Doyle, some the detective novels. Jeez. Anyway, Sherlock Holmes. I'd be reading Sherlock Holmes, like getting some inspiration because those are like really good examples of murder mysteries. So read through them, get some inspiration. Anything else for me?
Yeah, I suppose. There's a different thing that I got to work out in the campaign.
I'm ready.
And it's related to that same character, but it's a different situation entirely.
I'm picking up some favoritism here.
Well, honestly, we've kind of gone through everyone's arcs.
Okay. Good.
So they're kind of the last one I've got to get to now.
Okay.
But this person, there's a person in this character's backstory who believes that this player has wronged this NPC. Yeah. So this essentially this person is now hunting this player and a vampire hunter, essentially, you could call it.
Mm-hmm.
This person is really, really weak, both lore wise and mechanics wise in the game as of this moment. However, what I'm planning on doing is having this NPC, this character from this person's backstory, team up with another villain from either another player's backstory, from another player's backstory, one that is more powerful. And I'm having a hard time picking. Well, I have an idea in mind for the villain that they'd be teaming up with.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little difficult to work out the context they would team up with this new villain. Maybe there's just too much context here to explain to give you an idea of what I'm wanting.
Broad strokes.
Gotcha. So, a white dragon has made themselves known to the party, and they have revealed themselves to be one of the leaders of the biggest towns or cities in this town, or in this on this island. This white dragon is the leader of obviously one of these large territories, and they are interested. They were wrong. The party killed their essentially second-hand man or lieutenant, and now this white dragon is looking for revenge. However, after they got into a conflict with this white dragon, this white dragon is, instead of looking for revenge, looking to recruit this party, at least one of the people from this party. And once the party says no, because this white dragon does have some ties to some of the players' backstories, so I'm expecting them to say no at some point. I'm thinking of having this white dragon then contact some of their past villains that they
to team up.
Yeah, to team up.
All right. What's the question?
Well, it's just it's a little difficult because how would you do a team up? How would you reveal and set up a team up between two of the major villains?
How would I set it up? I mean, it'd be just as simple. So, I would think about what the dragon knows, what villain A knows.
Mm-hmm.
I would think about what they would say to villain B to recruit them, what they would offer, and how they would build a mutual relationship, what each of them would get out of it, how strong that relationship is. I'd basically just like role play in my head. All right, villain A is talking to villain B. What would villain A say? How would villain B respond? And just kind of walk through their conversation and where that ends up. And then you could just grow that organically.
So, one of the things I'm thinking of, like the inspiration behind this team up is Star Wars and like Emperor Palpatine and his apprentice. There can only be two Siths.
Yeah,
That kind
rule of two.
Yeah. And I think Emperor Palpatine, or villain A in this case, is looking for their new Sith. And I think their first target is going to be someone within the party, kind of like a Strahd situation.
Mm-hmm.
How they're contacting this member of the party over and over. But eventually, after this member of the party says no, they'll then look over to the other people they know and their villain rogues gallery. That did give me that idea, so thank you for that.
Sure. Anything else for me?
No, I think that'll be everything. I think just talking about it helped me come up with some ideas there, so thank you very much for that.
Absolutely. I've definitely done that a lot. Like just talk out loud. I'll talk to Homer. Like, hey Homer, how about this? And then saying it out loud, helps a lot. Well, all right, I'm gonna get to the next caller.
Have a good one.
Thanks, bud. Take it easy. I think some of you know, like if you start talking about vampires, I'm gonna get excited. I think some of you do that on purpose.